Alright, we'll get this bolted in. We're going to lay it out for supporting. Let's put one bolt in so we can hang our degree wheel on it. You guys can see that. I'll just eyeball it right there. 0. We'll go back the other way just to be sure. Back to 0. Yep. 124. So half of 124. 62. So we'll come right up here to 62. 0. Well, we will lay out where we want the ports. Nice thing about this on a clamshell, well, any saw, but you can mark it from the top now. That's where we want our exhaust. That's a bit higher than your normal 50cc, but we'll see what it does. You can kind of see the line there. And we'll do the same with our transfers. Okay, now we got that laid out. Like I said, with this ultra short piston, we don't really have a lot of racing to do. But without that head being able to bump the compression back up, this setup would not work at all. And you can see we're really not going up too much. I did mark it above the intake because we'll be running some finger ports on that side. So we'll take this off and we can start grinding on it. Alright, put some marks on the piston. Put some marks on the piston so I can line everything back up. Put the piston in there so I can blend the lower windows and everything. Pull that piston back off and we're ready to start grinding. Then we can put the piston back in like so. Line it up with our lines and see how the lowers need to be blended to match up. It's real hard to tell, but they pretty much match up exactly. So this will be mostly some window work, and I'll lower this edge a little bit. But you can see that's wide open, all the flow they need. Alright, sorry you guys missed a few steps. Trying to get this thing done. Skipped a little bit, you know how that goes. But I just have a mock-up carb. This is a Tillerson HS. Made this adapter block for the intake. This plastic spacer as a heat soak isolator. And you can see, tried to blend and smooth everything best we can from the throttle bore into that port. It's not perfect by any means, but we're fairly close there. So now what we're going to do, I'll take this carb off. We got the bottom end ready. We'll put this piston on. We got our piston ready. I had to put this up on the mill and open up the inside of the bosses. And I ground in a radius at the bottom. Lost a little bit of weight there, which is never a bad thing. And to use the 10mm pin on these echoes, used our OD grinder. And this is a bearing race for a, 13mm ID bearing. Pop the race out, ground down the OD, just to fit ever so in the connecting rod. Like that. And then we use our 10mm bearing. Like that. But that's how we're doing this. Because these echoes run an 11mm pin stock. So we turn down, well, ground down this bearing race nice and hard. And it fits just right in there. And we got a 10mm wrist pin bearing. So we'll get this piston mounted up. But first, let's take a look at the porting. Alright, here's what we got for the porting. Threw some finger ports in there. Raised the uppers a little bit. Just blended these lowers. Widened and raised the exhaust. You can see my boo-boos in there. And same thing on the other side. Just a nice finger port. And we just raised the uppers a little bit. So nothing super crazy. But we do have some duration. So hopefully this will spin up. Larger carb. Nice wide open exhaust. Hopefully we can get this thing spun up. Alright, we'll get this piston put on. A little bit of oil on that bearing. This is a used bearing. Hopefully it plays nice. So we'll throw the clips in it. There we go, we got the clips in. I'll put some sealant on the base. Put a ring in. Alright, well, this is how it all goes together, but we forgot to check the squish. So we'll clean all this sealant up, take the ring off, put it together, and see what our squish looks like real quick. Alright, got most of the prep work done on the chassis. We'll tuck this engine down in here. Just like that. And here's our cylinder head. This is actually round 2. This isn't the same one. I did a boo-boo on the other one. Went too deep with this counter bore. And I broke through the sealing area. But this is one we got. So let's sit down here. Just like so. Make sure it don't hit already. Alright, let me go get a couple pieces of threaded rod. Alright, we'll double check it. Got my solder in here. Squish should be good. I shaved a bit off the top of the cylinder here. But like I said, we're going to double check. Alright. Make sure the head's down to begin with. Just touch those finger tight. Go corner to corner. I grab the wrench. Alright. Now, should be able to get a good squish reading. Should be 25 to 28 thousandths. We'll just see exactly where it landed. But that's about what I was shooting for. Hopefully this thing will spin some RPM. And at the extra RPM, a little extra room's not going to hurt anything. The combustion chamber should be plenty small enough. We'll make plenty of compression even with a little bit looser squish. And if we see a reason to, we can always lessen it. Okay, 26 thousandths. Double check the other side. Alright, 26 thousandths too. Alright, so that means everything's sitting pretty good. Now we can pull this out, get it cleaned up. And we'll go back through the steps to get this sealed up. Alright, still got our clips in. We'll wipe the grease off the top. Alright, there we go. We got a little bit of oil in the bore. Got some oil in the bore. Sealant's on. Now all we got to do is hope that we got those little boo-boos low enough. So let's get this slid on. That's a nice thing about those nice deep tapers on these clamshells. Put our bolts in it. All right. So far so good. It hasn't hung the ring yet. All right, so I bolted on the carb that we're going to use. Fuel line's hooked up. Impulse line's hooked up. And I also shortened the head studs. So I don't think there's anything stopping us from bolting this down. Like I said, I'm going to put a thin layer of my high Lamar up here. Just in case. And it's not like we're going out to cut firewood, so hopefully it'll hold up. Now I do have some material ordered. I will make some O-rings and actually O-ring this, then we don't have to worry. But for now, put that sealant on. Drop it down in there, give it a little wiggle to seat it. Don't forget our washers. Now I'll run to the bolt store and I'll pick up some bolts. Alright, I think that'll do for now. Look at that, still spins over. Now we can start putting Humpty back together. I already bent up a throttle rod. It goes in the stock location, like that. Put that carb piece back in. Got full throttle. Holds it nice. Alright. And I've already done most of the tedious trimming. I'm sure we'll find something. But that fits on there like so. And once we put our handy dandy cover on, I opened this up back here, just a little bit more flow, but the underside of the carb box is all open. But so far, I think we're nailing our sleeper saw status. So let's go ahead and put the rest of this together. Get the flywheel on, the clutch on, the coil. Always make sure your taper's clean on the flywheel. For now, we're just going to run the factory timing on the coil, which is actually fairly healthy on this one. Alright, we'll use our gap tool, adjust this flywheel. If you look, we lined up the new carb with the old carb adjustment screws, and that hole just above, right there, that's the idle. That's why I had to remove that little tab. But we've got that carb fitting just like factory. So we'll finish putting this together. But I wanted to show you that that worked out just about right. Cover, I got this top cover open to allow this plug wire. These were all the small little things that add up and make or break one of these. So the plug wire fits. Everything else still fits. Okay, that's good to know. Now let's get the oiler and stuff all put back on. With these, we got this plate here that goes on first, kind of like a seal protector. Put that on. Then we can fish our oiler in. Like so. Got these two Phillips screws to hold it all in. That piece goes on there. I don't have a great clutch drum or bearing for this, but we'll have to make do with what we do have. Like that. Alright, so I got the clutch cleaned up. We're going to run 3/8 chain on this. So I got a small spline 3/8 rim. Like I said, this drum's not the greatest, this bearing's not the greatest, but they go roundy roundy. Alright, there we go. Now, alright, so my third handle option's a little bit better. So I'll go with that one. Well, if you're felling, it's not better, but racing, only need the top part anyway. Oh yeah, look at that. Starting to look like something now, guys. Starting to look like something now. Well, what's everybody think so far? Definitely been a long time coming, it feels like. I don't have any more fuel filters, so we'll have to hope this one works. And if we have issues, we'll know where to look. We'll set that up. Set that up. Let's grab the bar and chain we're going to use. Let's get some of this stuff out of the way. Alright, let me go finish the muffler real quick. I'll bring that back and then we'll be all ready to go. Alright, here's our muffler mod. It's a little crooked, but we'll just pretend we're going for the twisted vortex, you know, low pressure, high speed setup. That's what we'll do. But you can see, wide open, straight through, leaving the factory one on there as well. And we'll get this bolted up. Alright, that's on. Now, time for the top cover. This is actually the 530 top cover that I had. Fits the cylinder much better than the 450. I'm sure we'll have a couple little bulges right there from the head studs. Let's tighten up this spark plug. There we go. One little CS 450 chainsaw. Look at that. We got the primer bulb still. Everything else. Right there. Not too shabby. Let me tighten this clutch up, grab the bar and chain, and we'll see what she's got. Alright, we got our super fast Archer bar on here. This was just a cheap 3/8 16 that I picked up. This was a Husqvarna small mount, KO95, but we modified it to fit this here Echo. Basically all I had to do was lower the adjustment hole to line up with the adjuster on this one. So let's get some fuel in it and we'll see if it fires up. That ought to do. I'm going to pop this for now. Definitely see the one stud right there. I'm sure that one will poke through before too long. But once I get some bolts, I can recess it. And the high idle. I do have the kill switch on. Alright, wish me luck. Alright, I got different recoil swapped on it. Now we'll see how that goes. Alright, still got some carb something. Don't seem like it's getting fuel yet. Definitely not pumping any fuel. Alright, so we'll need to figure that out. Alright, we'll try this again. Through new gaskets, diaphragm in it, metering lever, new needle in there. Got it all fueled up. Set the choke and see if we can make it run now. We're on to something. It ran. I heard it. Now I had to do some more tuning and make some cuts with it. This one's not going to go on the dyno till after the races, a few more days. But we will go make some cuts with it, see what it does. Alright, here we go. 16-inch, 3/8. This is a little hunk of cherry. We'll try it out, see how it does. Tune will probably be off, probably won't want to idle, but we'll see. Made some cuts. Now I need to practice, but we don't have time for that. Definitely not the best spot, but it runs, it cuts, so we'll see what we can do. All right.